YouTube, what's up? Back again for another fishing tip. Hey, I just got to tell y'all all thank you. Y'all all watched the crap out of yesterday's daily tip video. I really appreciate that. Today's tip, definitely one of those that you're going to want to watch. You know, fish have a tendency to hit your bait, miss it sometimes. Today's video is going to highlight how to adjust if they're not eating your bait correctly. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. If you haven't yet, drop down that right hand corner, hit that sub button. And I want y'all to drop me a comment below. I want y'all to tell me what your favorite follow-up bait is. So let's say, for instance, you're throwing a topwater and you have a big one come up there and blow up on it, but he misses it. What are you going to do? You're going to throw your topwater back in there, or are you going to throw up a follow-up bait? Y'all drop that below, because I'm always curious what people do and how they use it, use that follow-up bait. So make sure y'all drop that below, and I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this video. Alright guys, I'm going to give y'all a situation, and I'm going to try to help you through the situation. So, how many times have you been out there and you've been throwing, let's just say, a thunder cricket? And a thunder cricket's a vibrating jig, so like a chatterbait. You're throwing your chatterbait and you hook one outside the mouth, okay? And you start wondering, man, why did I hook that one outside the mouth? Did he swipe at it? What happened? Well, the next fish bites it and doesn't eat it. Well, two things can be going on. A, you're just around a lot of inactive fish, and sometimes that's all it is. But B, sometimes you're throwing the wrong color. Sometimes the most subtle of changes can mean the difference between getting those fish to bite and getting those fish to eat. And there is a difference. So, as for instance, a thunder cricket or a vibrating jig, one little easy tip that you can do is, let's say for instance you're throwing a shad colored chatterbait, and you're burning down the bank, and all these fish are hitting it and knocking slack in your line, not hooking up. When you hook them, they're hooked outside the head. What I like to do is really pay attention to either my trailer action or the color of the bait. So I might change a color slightly. I might go from a white to like more of a transparent color, or I might even just change it all together and go to like green pumpkin. I'll like completely 180 it sometimes and just change colors completely just to see how they react to it. Sometimes that little bitty change can mean all the difference, especially in color. Now, trailer size and trailer type makes a huge difference as well. So when I'm fishing a thunder cricket, I fish a bunch of different trailers. So in one situation, I might throw in a minnow style trailer, like whether it be a blade minnow, a caffeine shad, a fluke, something like that, a Zako. And maybe they're knocking slack in it, but they're not eating it. That's when I might make a change to maybe a menace, rig vertically, a speed crawl, a structure bug. Change the action up, make it float a little bit different in the water. And sometimes that little bitty change, just a trailer change, can mean the difference between getting them to commit and not. Another situation that you're going to see a lot, and I absolutely have seen it all over the country, literally everywhere I go, is cranking. There's two situations that I'm going to address tonight that is going to help you, hopefully, when you're on the water. So the first one I'm going to talk about is deep cranking. So if you're out there and you're throwing a deep diving crankbait, and let's say, for instance, that school is there and you're having a really hard time firing them up, there's two things that I like to do in that situation. I go, like if I'm throwing a sexy shad 6XD, I might change to like a green gizzard or a blue gizzard shad, so something more transparent. Once again, you see where I'm going there? You can adjust that color just slightly, and a lot of times those fish will commit. Well, if that doesn't quite work, that's when I actually go to the silent version of the bait. So I want one without rattles and I want one with rattles. So being able to adjust those two things can mean the difference between not catching them and catching them big time. And I've been in a lot of situations where just that the sound changes alone, by going from rattles to no rattles, meant the difference between me making the cut and me not even getting a check. One instance was on Kentucky Lake. I made a top 10 there, and I caught most of my fish on a silent 6XD. And I'm telling you, if I hadn't been throwing that one, I know because a buddy of mine was throwing a rattling one, and he did not catch them, and we were fishing right next to each other, and I caught them. A lot of times that little bit more subtle action and sound is what you want for pressured fish. So paying attention to those little bitty clues that the fish are actually giving you can actually help you land and catch more bass. The last one is actually throwing a square bill crankbait. So This is actually a pretty unique one. So there are a lot of times when you're cranking a square bill, like a KVD 1.5, and that's the most popular size. It's about 2 inches long. It dives about 4 to 6 foot. Well, a lot of people throw that 1.5 size. Well, one thing I've learned by traveling all around is a lot of times that 1.5 is actually quite a bit smaller than the shad that are around you. So they'll have a tendency to slap at it, and sometimes they're slapping at it because they're just reacting to it. So they just have a tendency to just roll their head over and bite it as it comes over and lay down or something like that. One of my biggest things that I like to do is actually upsize my crankbait if I'm getting those slap baits. I want to figure out a way to catch the biggest fish that I can. So I might go to like a 2.5 or even a 4.0. Actually, the 4.0 is my favorite size that we make in that KVD square bill lineup. I'm giving away a secret there because not as many people throw it. They're a little bit discouraged by throwing it. But changing it up to that 4.0, it's a bigger body bait. But, man, it really triggers those fish to eat. And I think it really matches the hatch well, especially if you're on a lake that has gizzard shad. The other thing that I like to do, I either go big or I go really small. I go to the 1.0 if the bite's really, really tough, but that's more of like a fall thing. This time of year I will if I'm on a really terrible fishery, and let's face it, guys, there's some really bad fisheries out there. So sometimes you got to downsize that bait just to get those bites. So if you make those little subtle adjustments, if you let the fish kind of tell you what you need to throw it, and I know that sounds kind of silly, guys, and I'm not one of those like philosophical kind of dudes, but I can tell you this: if you're throwing your favorite bait, we'll just say it is a thunder cricket, and you're throwing it and they're just slapping it, make some little adjustments. Don't just keep throwing it and missing fish. Make those adjustments. Maybe change the blade color, change the skirt color slightly, change your trailer, change the weight of the bait, or maybe even change your line size and make the bait go either deeper in the water or higher in the water column. Make those little small adjustments when you start seeing those fish miss your bait. And I promise you guys, if you pay attention to those little bitty clues, you're going to add more fish to your bag every single time. Thank you guys for watching this tip video. I hope you all enjoy it. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. I just wrapped up the second day of Pickwick practice. It was a great day of practice. Had a lot of bites. I'm looking forward to this tournament. Not real sure what we're going to have, but I know we're not going to catch them like Lee Lives Say did on Lake Fork today, 42 pounds, like absolutely ridiculous. So congrats, Lee, on a phenomenal event at that elite event. So that's where we're trying to head, guys. So I can't get there without y'all's support. So thank y'all all, and I hope to see y'all on the next video.